And it's day 38 of 50 days of fitness. And so today we're going to talk about bumps in the road. And I had a couple of bumps in the road yesterday. So one was a technical bump in the road. I did my video for day 37 and I started uploading it and I put my phone aside and to let it upload. And I didn't think a whole lot about it. It can take quite a while. It seems to depend upon the time of day. It seems that I'm not exactly sure, but sometimes it'll upload in 10 or 15 minutes. Well, yesterday it didn't upload in 10 or 15 minutes. I set it aside and I didn't think anything about it because I was doing my other stuff and working and all that, and I didn't look at it for several hours. And I assumed it was done and I was going to get on and kind of do the stuff I have to do on YouTube to get it all going. And I looked at my phone again and it hadn't uploaded. And not only had it not uploaded, but when I looked at it, it started it over. And so it's like, well, crap. And by that time it was already late. It was like 10 p.m. So I put it aside again and I was working on some other stuff again. And so I checked it again when I was getting ready to go to bed. It was getting close to midnight. It was around 11:30. It still hadn't uploaded. And once again, for whatever reason, when I looked at it, it started the upload over again. I don't know. But it ended up uploading while I was asleep. And so I didn't get it out on day 37, but I swear, cross my heart, I swear I did it on day 37 and it was supposed to go out, but it was a technical glitch. But there's more. There's another bump in the road. And so the second bump in the road is I lost track of my sets yesterday. I know for a fact I did two. I don't know if I did the other two. It was a busy day and I got busy and I know that when I went to my first appointment in the morning, I didn't have time to do all four. So I'm like, I'll do the rest of them later today. And I honestly cannot remember if I finished them up yesterday or not. And so I'm leaning toward I forgot to do the last two. I may have done them, but I can't say with 100% certainty that I did. So I had a little bump in the road. And then there's a third bump in the road, but that has to do with today. I just actually did a whole video for day 38 and realized that I had forgotten to put my microphone on. Oh well. So sometimes there are bumps in the road. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes there are bumps in the road, but I mean, so in spite of that, I still don't feel like I've failed here because it is day 38, and I have stuck to my sugar fast every day this whole time. I've had no problems there. I have done the exercises every day, although yesterday I may not have gotten 4 to 6 in like I planned, but I know I got 2 in. I'm positive of that. I may have gotten those other 2, but I just can't I couldn't swear on a stack of Bibles. I couldn't swear to it. So, but I still did that. So, it's not like a total failure. We're going to keep going. But I didn't get my video up. Technical difficulties, but I didn't get it up. So where am I? I'm still at 200 pounds. Been that way for more than a week now, except for that one day where it bumped up to 202 a couple of days ago. So that's been very consistent. Exercise, we already talked about that. So you know what? I'll take it. We're going to keep moving. We're just going to keep moving. So the other thing I was thinking about talking about today, and a lot of this I think is mental, sort of mental health, sort of our own well-being. And that's super important. Those things are related. Our mental health is super important to our physical health, and vice versa. Our physical health is super important to our mental health. So we have to think of everything. We have to think of all of that. And it's sort of interesting, even though it's not always obvious to you. A lot of times the things that you're in, it you it's just a matter of you have to make a decision to change it. And I know that sounds really dumb, but there have been lots of times, and when I'm in the middle of it, lots of times I can't see it. But a lot of times where I've had kind of things that have just been kind of going really bad or something along those lines, when I look back on it, there was a point where I made a decision. It's like, you know what? This is going to change. And, uh, and that was the turning point. And so with that, I'm going to talk a little bit today about Stoicism. And I'm not an expert in Stoicism. It's something that really seems to resonate with me, seems to suit my personality. Um, I, you know, I wouldn't claim to be an expert on it at all. But I've been learning more about it. I would say I've always been aware of it, but at a very, very superficial level only, just not much, depth to it. But I really like Stoicism. I like the idea of self responsibility and the fact that, you can't control other people, you can't control the world around you. That's just not the way it is, and you have to operate within that world. And I think kind of going back to the thing where we talked about rage a few days ago, um, and and I get angry too. I mean, I know, and there are sometimes good reasons to get angry. I'm not against that, but I think so much of this is anger at other people that they're not doing exactly what you want them to do, or that this isn't exactly the way you want it to be, or things along those lines. And those things are largely outside your control. And so, with that in mind, you need to operate within what you can. And so, this also resonates with game theory. I'm also not an expert in game theory, um, but I've read a little bit on game theory and I would like to learn more about game theory. But that's a similar idea to the thing in game theory. It's like, you kind of need to map out um, your outcomes, your actions and outcomes. And so oftentimes we are choosing things, and I would say this is especially so in America. We're always looking for this win-win proposition, and I think that in America we think that there is always a win-win proposition, and I'm not sure that's really true. Um, and that's I would say a lot of what game theory is sort of about. It's like, lots of times we're shooting for outcomes that can only occur if somebody else does something. And so I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of times we're falling short of our expectations and what we want to do, is that we've been working on an outcome that cannot occur unless somebody else does something, and there's no real guarantee they're going to do that. So when you're looking at your outcomes, you have to look at the outcomes. It's like, well, what's my best outcome if I do this and they do this? And what's my best outcome if I do this and they do something else? And then, and so kind of go through those things. But the thing that with game theory, it's like you need to choose the best outcome that is within your control. So think of the things where you do it, and no matter what happens with the other side, then you choose the one that where you'll have the best outcome no matter what the other side does. And that's sort of similar to Stoicism. It's like, we get kind of, everything would be perfect. I'm doing my part, but X, Y, and Z didn't do their part, and that's why this didn't happen. Or I'm doing my part, but they didn't do their part. Or I'm doing my part, but that happened here. And I mean, those things are all true. I'm not saying they're not true, but we need to be thinking about what's the best outcome for me no matter what happens with those other guys. And so that's kind of the thing. It's kind of like let go of that frustration and anger because somebody didn't do this or somebody didn't do that and it caused me to do this. We can't really operate that way. And I think that lots of times we end up with suboptimal outcomes and we're unhappy with them. And one of the reasons is that we're chasing things and that's so dependent on other people, and those other people may not do it. And so it's like, you can't count on that. So anyway, that we're going to wrap it up on that. That is day 38 of 50 days of fitness. Less than 2 weeks left. So hope you will be back with me tomorrow for day 39. If you like this, if you think someone would benefit from it, if you think it's fun, maybe you can give me a like or a share. Maybe make a comment. I love comments. Or maybe you can even subscribe. We're going to finish this one up in about 11 days, 12 days, and then we'll do a new one. So take care, my friends. Have a great day. Bye.